So, Nigel Farage, a few days ago, leader of the Reform Party, came out with a statement talking about a way to put a new fairer tax on non-dom higher earners, and that would benefit the working man and put money in their pockets. The working man's pockets, I should clarify. So of course my first thought was that can't be true because you're Nigel Farage and this involves taxing wealthy people. I can't imagine this would benefit anyone except for the wealthy. So I've seen it referred to as the Britannia card or the Robin Hood tax. So basically, what a non-dom would do, instead of paying tax per year, they would pay a lump sum of £250,000, and they then would not pay tax for 10 years, which, when you think about it, sounds big, but not that big. So of course, doing a quick bit of maths, you're only looking at about £25,000 per annum in those 10 years, which isn't actually that much. So according to the data on the HMRC for around 2022, these non-doms, their average pay per annum was about £125,000. So in the space of 10 years, they'd be paying about 1,200,000. And that's how much roughly they'd pay. So if this thing came into place, these companies would then be paying £950,000 less in that span of 10 years. So it wouldn't be going into the pockets of the working class, the poor people, the workers. It will be just more tax cuts for the super wealthy. And the wealthy that don't actually reside in the UK. And I always think that's very significant for a person whose platform is them people taking your jobs, not paying their taxes like we do, like we should, because we are British people. And obviously they're pushing the narrative of, they're kind of highlighting Christian nationalism in as well, having to repeatedly referring to the fact that this is that Britain is a Christian country, regardless of the fact there's quite a large amount of atheists and non-Christians in this country. But it's a way to weaponise it. It's actually a nationalist tactic anyway, relating Christianity with the country. You are basically saying if you are English, you are Christian. If you're not Christian, then you're not English. Kind of what they're doing overseas. But the reason I bring this up, the other thing I'd like to throw in is the fact that Farage was talking about how this would benefit the working man, which it obviously doesn't, but also talking about how it put money in the pockets of the working man. Now, that's obviously not how tax works. Tax just doesn't put money in the pockets of people. Tax, ideally, should actually be going to public services, such as like the police, police, fire people, and of course the NHS, which is also funny because Nigel Farage also wants to get rid of the NHS and have a insurance system like they do in America. The system that's working really well at the moment. Don't Google Luigi. That's all I'm going to say. But go Luigi. But all I'm saying is, once again, this is another example of Nigel Farage talking about how he's here for the working people, and then with like 2 minutes worth of counting, realise that he's happy to cut the taxes on some of these companies and people that aren't residents of the UK. Oh, except for those poor people who want to come across to the UK and just live a life and would have to pay tax because they're working. But if they're overseas and very wealthy, then they can do as much business in the UK as they want and not pay a penny towards the UK. I just find that funny. So yes, so if someone does come up and say that Nigel Farage is for the people, just remind them that he's a privately schooled banker. I've probably paid more tax in my life than he's paid in his. Just gonna say.